Hi, this is Coach Hall. It's March 8th, 2021, and we are going to be kicking off a whole series of videos. It may go on for infinity for all I know, but let's talk LLE. Learning to launching to earning. That's what this program, this is what this group, this is what this community is all about. Now, what we're going to be doing is presenting you with a number of videos from time to time, just like you see here, that help you understand what we're going to be doing next, what I'm doing next, regarding the different courses, regarding what we're doing here in this group, and some of the progress, welcoming members to the group. And basically what I want to do with this particular video is just show you how all of the Star Family Coaching courses are connected to one another. Because some of you may have taken a lot of my parenting courses, my optimal parenting course, or they help me on my parent series. There's 10 courses there, or maybe my stress-free parenting course, or maybe one of the other courses that are specific to divorce or whatever. And there's a group of you out there that need help in that regard. And then I have other courses like ACT and CTME that are more for, and 6-film, that are more for the personal development aspect of your life. And I talk about all of these things really beginning with the Human Voyage. So the connection there is that each and every one of us has gone through some participation of the parenthood journey. Even if you're not a parent yet, or you never plan to be a parent, you were a child and went through childhood, which is a part of your parents' parenthood journey. So you have some history being a part of the parenthood journey. Now, as a human being, all of us will go through the human voyage. Some of us will elect to choose to go and do the parenthood journey. Some of us won't do that, and that's fine too. We get to make those choices. That's wonderful. But what happens in the parenthood journey impacts you on your human voyage. When you're a child, your parents' parenthood journey has impacted you, and it has helped set the course on your human voyage. And this is where the connection is at. And of course, if you've heard about my mission, is I want to impact 1 million, even 1 billion families if I can. 1 billion people, 1 million families, and that we will give them the fundamentals of the human voyage and optimal parenting skills so that their children will grow up to be interdependent, which basically means the ability to enter an independent phase or participate with other people in a cooperative type of arrangement, which we want to be able to do. So you're okay in groups and you're okay by yourself, interdependent, with the ability not just to survive, but sustainably thrive in life. Okay, we want to thrive in life, and this is really what we're trying to do as parents. Now, we're not going to be able to do that if we don't have a good understanding of ourselves and the 6 phases of the human voyage, which represent skill sets that we all need to master if we want to have an optimal human voyage. The personal development side, which is really just your mind. We're talking about your mind and mastering your mind. Mindfulness and things of this nature. Relationships. We can't go through this world alone. We didn't come into this world alone. Parents brought us into the world. And so we have this need to connect. It's part of what we do and what we need. So we should master this. We should learn how to communicate better. We should be able to hack one another's behavior, if you will. Be able to understand behavior better. And communicate in an effective way and be able to learn how to listen at the emotional level as well as the intellectual level. We need to learn how to be better at understanding what I call the 3 ships: leadership, followship, and fellowship. There are skills in order in those arenas there. Being a good leader, being a good follower, being a good fellowship partner, which is basically a team player. Can you be a good team player? Then we've got some issues, a lot of us, with time management and organizational skills. This is something that we need to be more masterful in life. So that's another phase of our life. We also have to deal with change. Maybe some of us deal with some dramatic change, some crisis, major crisis trauma in our lives, but there's always some sort of minute little change also occurring. How do we change? How long do we get stuck in feeling lost and confused or sad and depressed because of losing something, or because of a change that has impacted us? That's critical. And also in the area of creation. We are creators. What can we do to develop our creativity side, the creation side of us? How can we produce better? And how can we set and accomplish goals? Those are all the areas of our lives that we really, if we master these areas and develop those skills, we can have an optimal voyage. So the component that really rings true at the core of all this is you. It starts with you. And so most of where we're going to be beginning the talks with learning to launching to earning will be centered on this concept of you at the core of the journey, you at the core of the parenthood journey, you at the core of the human voyage, and you making the decisions to develop those all 6 areas of the phases of your life in all 8 areas of your life balance. Now, what we're going to be doing to help you move the retention up in learning and help you plug in these learnings into your life so you can literally launch your life and become that person you want to be. And for some of us, we want to maybe take these skills that we're learning and teach it to other people, and we maybe want to make a living out of it or get some kind of compensation for it. This is the earning part of it. So we're going to be doing all of these in this group. And where we're going to be helping you in these areas is I'm going to be sharing with you what I do. Besides this, is I'm a participant in a lot of groups, parenting groups, personal development groups. I read articles, probably 2 hours every night. I'm flipping through articles and looking through things. I read books, blogs, and on top of current affairs, I'm looking at the latest in neuroscience. So I'm a part of a lot of stuff, and that's just because I am a forever student and I want to stay on top of things. But I don't want to keep it all to myself. I want to share it with you guys, and I want to help plug this system into place. How can we learn faster? Well, we can do that by taking real life scenarios that I find in all these articles and blogs and all these sources that I use to help better educate myself, and plugging it into the group and saying, let's have a talk about this. And how can we use ACT? How can we use CTME? How can we use 6-film? How can we use the fundamentals of the human voyage related to this particular scenario? Again, and I'd get the scenario from articles and all these things that I'm exposed to anyways, and just share them and use this as sort of the laboratory for which we can better enhance our skills. And of course, I want you to share your stories. If you've got stories you want to share, by all means, please, let's talk about that as well. Now, the other day, before I officially launched, by the way, we're not going to officially launch this group probably until, I'm thinking like the 1st of May. I've got some work to do. I'm still trying to learn all the details of the group. I want to put some files in the group. I want to go live in the group, but apparently, because this is a Facebook group, they have some criteria you have to meet before. You have to have a certain amount of time, a certain number of people in the group before you get these added features that I'd like to use. So I made a promise the other day that I was going to create a PDF for the members of this group. Now, my dilemma is, how do I get it to you, since I don't have files available as of yet in the group? Well, what I can make available to you is, if you're interested, you can go into the messaging system here on Facebook and private message me and say, hey, I like this. And I could either upload it to you that way, or you can send me your email address, and I should be able to. If it doesn't work on Messenger, let me know, because we won't have any other choice, I guess, unless somebody else can think outside the box. We can either go, set up a Google, what do they call it? Google Pages or something like that. I'm a part of it and I can't think of the name of it right now. But we can either go the Google route or we can just do email. You can send me your email and I can send it to you. I know that way works because I've done this before. Okay. But anyhow, what I created was a face your minds, I like to call it face your mind starter questions. I'm going to have a website set up. I already got the name and everything. It's going to be called Face Your Mind. This is really where the center of everything is. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and start to face your mind and deal with the issues that are occurring in the mind. And the first thing is just to learn how the mind works. And so we want to focus on that. So one of the things that we can do in launching and helping ourselves launch is to establish what our A point is. Now we'll never really get a full reading on our A point, guys. I just want you to know. You're constantly moving. Just during the process of trying to answer all the different evaluations that you could come across, it takes time. And in that time, doing all these evaluations, some minor changes likely have to occur. And so it could be a perpetual, never-ending process of learning what your A point is, which in some ways isn't a bad idea. You always want to be on top of where you're at, but you don't want to live there because we got to move forward. So what we're going to be doing is helping you, and you can turn around and use this on your clients as well, just some real powerful questions. There's 15 pages. On each page, I think there's about 12 questions. And what they do is target the 6 phases and the 8 areas of your life balance, and they really just get to the A point. We're trying to establish a solid A point. Get you thinking, facing your mind. Let's see what the issues are. And then we can plug in ACT or CTME or 6FIM to really polish these areas of our life. We can really start to work on these issues. We can find issues even before they're issues, because most of the times, yourself included, you don't recognize that you might have a deficiency in some area of your life until a real problem poses itself. Exactly the way clients would. Clients come to you when there's a problem they can't resolve. I need help, and you're there to help them. But typically what they're presenting to you, and the same thing to you, what you will see in yourself, is that you're seeing the top layer where underneath is really where the core issues are. And that's going to take a little time. So that's what this questionnaire does. It helps you really start to look at things a little different, answer questions about yourself and your client that can help flesh out some of these things that are underlying that could pop up at any point and cause issues down the road. So we want to establish a good solid A point. Now, here's some ideas I have for the group. I'm open to your ideas, by the way, guys. In fact, I'm going to ask you guys to come up with ideas, outside the box ideas. They're not to be judged. We're not to look at each other and go, oh, that's a stupid idea. That's a dumb. There are no stupid ideas. There are only stupid responses to ideas, okay? So we don't need to be doing that. We just like, okay, that's an idea. Oh, okay, that one's something we might look at if we can make it. We need to figure out what the purpose. That's a good way to ask yourself before you present the idea. Say, for what purpose does this serve? Just ask that question and go, oh, okay. If you can answer that, explain that to us. Well, I think this will serve this purpose, and here's the idea. Boom, okay? Wonderful way to present the idea. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to be doing, probably about once a month, I plan on doing this early on. And then once we get this thing rolling, maybe it'll happen a little bit more often. And then I invite you guys to do the same thing. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at some scenarios that I come across, and I'm going to become the virtual client for you. I'm going to role play. I'm going to be a person that's got certain kinds of issues or what have you. I'm going to do a little video presentation, and I'm going to ask you guys to basically go through the steps. What would you do if you had this particular person? And I'll be the person, and we'll do a little video version of it, and then we'll go into kind of a posting mode where You might ask me questions. We can go back and forth. If we get a nice sized group together, we can even jump on a Zoom call and do something like that. And eventually, I want to see you guys doing the same thing, role playing with one another. One person assumes the coach and another person assumes the client, and you go through the whole process. And then the good thing to do would be to record this and then analyze it afterwards so you can see where we can improve in our techniques. So that's what we're going to be doing in this group. We're also going to be looking at, and I'm going to be developing some forms so that we can share, which would be the steps of analysis for ourselves as practitioners or as coach. How do we go about looking at a problem? For example, today, one of the problems I saw, and I saw 80 something answers, and I was scratching my head to the answers because these folks, and this is a parenting group, most of them don't have knowledge of the CTME. They don't have an understanding of human development and developmental age and emotional intelligence and how children communicate versus adults communicate, and who's responsible for what, and what you have control over and what you don't have control over. Just reading these responses was quite glaring and noticeable to me that there's a lot of folks out there that need a lot of help in that department. So the question was, and the situation was, that this parent had confronted their child, who happens to be 8 years old, on the fact that their credit card had been used for upgrades on a program, a video game program, many times over, and totaling something to the number of $80 or something in upgrades. And then because the child lied, they didn't know what to do. So not only the child somehow got my password and my credit card and did all these upgrades, then when we confronted him about it, he lied. What should I do? Okay. And then comes all the answers. Well, if we were to use the steps of an analysis, we would take that question and go, okay, let's look at it like this. This is an outcome. The outcome is you got a large bill. It came from your child charging upgrades on a video game device. They got a hold of your password. They knew how to do all this stuff. An 8-year-old, pretty impressive to me. So there are a lot of things here that we need to look at, and we need to figure out how it is this child got into this situation, what happened in that engagement between the parent finding out what happened. What was that all about? How did that go down? It's easy to say, well, I confronted him, but how did you confront him? And what language did you use? Was there a reason why the child lied? Could it have been just because the way you engaged that child in this inquiry? I mean, it's a whole lot we don't know before we go into the business of giving advice. And as I've said many times as life coaches, it's not our job to give advice. It's our job to show people how to figure out these problems. And obviously, these types of scenarios will help us understand what it is that we need to do. And if we have some steps that we can follow and start to practice those steps, we can use this as self-analysis and going through the steps. And we can also use this in helping us analyze other people's situations and challenges that they present to us. Okay? Now, as I get close to wrapping up this video, I want you guys to ask me questions. You can use this as Q&A for the courses from Star Family Coaching School or Udemy, or maybe you've seen something on my YouTube channel, from any source that has gotten you here. If you have questions, please post those questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And you guys in the group, if you know the answer, jump in. Some folks may be asking questions about ACT, and some of you have probably already completed the course and already practicing, and now you can move in more of a helping via teaching mode, which increases your retention. And this is what the purpose of the group is all about. So Q&A is going to be a big part of this group as well. I'm also going to be sharing new techniques, new materials that I come across. I'll be doing that with you. And I'll be doing periodic videos like the one you see here. I don't know what the time parameter. I haven't committed myself to an actual time frame. It's going to depend on the size of the group and the involvement of the group, and all these sorts of things have to be factored in. But there will be periodic videos, and I'll be posting several times a week, just text posting or posting up some other images and things of that nature. Okay, so again, as I said before, the official launch hasn't yet to be announced. I'm shooting for May 1st. Might happen maybe even a month sooner. We'll see. One of the delays might be how I react to my COVID vaccine. I just got my first one the other day, all well, but I've heard that the second one, could give you some some things that you might have to deal with for a couple of days. And so I don't want to hold things up. I want to be going. Once we get going, I want to be able to be available. So that's not going to happen until like April 2nd. And then I have an anniversary, my marriage anniversary. So we're going to be doing a few days of celebrating. And boom, then I'm going to be full-time into this. Okay? So tell me what you think of this video and post ideas in the group. Tell me what you think or feel will help increase your retention, what might help you in launching, and what might help you in earning a living as a coach. Okay, so that's what this group's all about. Thanks for spending a few moments of your time with me, and I look forward to LLE growing as a community. I look forward to seeing what kind of relationships start to evolve within the group, between the members. I met a lot of people in a group years ago, and I still have lots of wonderful friends because of that experience. So that I'm looking forward to seeing as well, just the connections that will happen with you guys and the member that are members here. And most importantly, we're all here to help one another in our efforts to learn, to launch, and to earn. Okay, and that's going to wrap things up. Guys, have a happy March 8th.